She is here. It's Wednesday, and we're going to talk about some of the fantastic work Feel is doing. Yes. And I know that Feel is involved in providing aid to those affected by Hurricane Dorian in the Bahamas.
Yes.
How is that going?
Well, it's been going great so far. We have had 2 airlifts to the Bahamas. So the last 2 Sundays, donations from the people of Trinidad and Tobago were sent to the Bahamas to assist the individuals there. And, you know, Rishi, what has stood out for me throughout this experience, I mean, Feel has been doing this for, you know, over a decade. We assisted people in Dominica. We provided assistance in Haiti. We provided assistance in Grenada prior to that. And I had the fortunate experience to meet one of our donors who, when I spoke with her, Mrs. Hercules, good morning. She actually said to me, I said, Mrs. Hercules, you know, it's so nice. Thank you so much for your donation. And she pointed out to me that when she was 5 years old, Hurricane Flora affected Tobago, and she was living in Tobago. And her family benefited from donations from people from Grenada, Barbados, St. Vincent, because her house was flattened. They had to live by a neighbor for over 3 months. And so whenever there's a call to assist anyone else in the Caribbean, she knows that she has to give. And that story was very inspiring for me because it reminded me about the importance of why, well, one, that we are neighbors and how intertwined the Caribbean is and why it is important for us to do what we are doing. In addition to that, I want to point out to the people of Trinidad and Tobago that last week, Thursday and Friday, Feel outfitted our civil society organizations that are members of Feel with disaster relief food supplies that they will hold at their locations. So should something happen in Trinidad and Tobago, they are already outfitted with a set of supplies. You know, one of the learning lessons you have here is that when disaster strikes, you don't know where it's going to strike.
Exactly.
And therefore...
And when in some cases.
And when.
Look at the flooding situation that took place in October last year.
Exactly.
That was devastating for hundreds of people, you know.
Exactly. So by us ensuring that we are ready and we have, you know, and we have the support of the network of all the civil society organizations, then we are able to be more responsive. And I have to thank corporate Trinidad and Tobago and the members of the public because without their help, Feel would not be able to do that job.
Yeah, and so how much items and what sort of items did you all send across the Bahamas as a result of this?
Well, mostly food stuff and toiletries and a lot of baby items as well, which was really nice because I know that many children were affected, babies, so diapers, that was was an item that was sent. But Feel previously sent solar kits as well, so there were a wide range of items that were sent, and it just feels great to help our Caribbean neighbors.
Yeah, it's really good, and as you mentioned, people are actually coming forward and assisting because you don't know what can happen in Trinidad and Tobago, and one day we may require assistance again.
Exactly. And I mean, I didn't even know that story. So when she shared that to me, I said to her, can I share that with the rest of the public? Because I am not sure how many persons understood how we were affected.
Yeah, especially for younger people, because I wasn't around. I can't ever remember being in a situation where a hurricane or a storm carry would have really affected Trinidad and Tobago and affected me and my family directly. Probably it happened before, but not while I was there. So I think that there's probably a generational gap, and we don't understand what is happening and why it is necessary for us to assist.
Exactly. And the important lesson here is all of us in the Caribbean, we're linked. We are linked, and we have to really be neighbors. We really have to be neighborly to each other.
Yeah, and are you partnering with any of like the ODPM and the local organizations?
Oh, definitely, because the ODPM actually, Feel is coordinating the collection of the donations for persons who wish to donate locally on behalf of the ODPM, and then those donations are actually sent to NEMA in the Bahamas. Because, you know, we have this network of Caribbean disaster relief organizations that's called SIDIMA, and so they kind of act as an umbrella.
So you all work with SIDIMA as well?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. So, I mean, it's exciting stuff, and it's great to be able to help. And I understand that on news today, they spoke about persons in Tobago who were affected by
some
strong
trees would have
winds.
fallen on their homes and that kind
Exactly.
of thing. Will you all be sending over?
Absolutely. So we already have partners in Tobago.
Really?
We have about 4 partners in Tobago. So they would have already received some supplies. And of course, any way in which we can help, we will continue to do so, because that is part of that's just part of what Field does.
So you would aid in the repairs and helping them.
Right. So we would more likely provide relief supplies, like if they needed, let's say if someone was injured and they needed a wheelchair,
Right.
or they needed support with blankets, if anyone had to be put in a shelter and they needed items to support their movement into the shelter, yes, that's how Field would assist.
So as we're in the hurricane season, what sort of items are you all still collecting items to have in stock, so that in the eventuality, if anything is to happen in Trinidad and Tobago, we would have something?
Right. And so food stuff becomes a very important item. Water is a very important item as well. So even as we continue to collect supplies so that we can, we could assist in terms of a national response from that perspective, but every individual household should have a kit that will include water and food stuff. And if they visit the ODPM website, they can actually see guidelines on what you should put in that kit. I know at schools, some schools, the teachers even ask the children to prepare disaster kits and hold those items at the school.
And it's something that I mentioned before that parents can do with their children as well, put together a kit and all of the important documents. It's a good family thing as well.
Exactly.
So you'll be prepared together. Elena, thank you so very much for joining us this morning. Always a pleasure chatting with you, updating us on that Bahamas situation, the type of relief efforts you all are sending across there, and also what is happening in Trinidad and Tobago. Always a pleasure chatting with you. But